Hi, this is Freya with your next singing tip. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today I want to talk about your vocal cords, which are pretty much the basics for even producing any sound, right? So your vocal cords, what are they? What do they consist of? And the big question is, how does vocal cord closure affect the quality of your tone? If you want to find out more about the vocal cords, please stay tuned. We all know that the vocal cords are somewhere around this area in our throats, because whenever we put our hand right there on our throats, we can feel something vibrate whenever we talk. That's due to the rough vibrations that are caused by the vocal cords, right? And then, of course, all kinds of stuff that's in your throat and in your head that vibrates with it. But what do your vocal cords look like? Most people know what they actually look like. It's kind of like they're kind of these two strings that can close or be opened, and then depending on the frequency, like the speed they open and close, that will determine how high or how low the note is. However, there are some parts of the vocal cords that maybe some people aren't aware of. Now, the first thing is that the vocal cords aren't just one mass. They actually consist of different parts. So first of all, on the outside, there are some muscles. They can either relax or be contracted. And of course, the longer they get, the more tension that builds up, the higher the pitch will be. It's kind of like a string. The shorter and the more tense the string gets, the higher the pitch is. That's the same way with the vocal cords. However, there are some more parts of the vocal cords that it's just not a muscle. Attached to the muscles are some membranes, and those are the ones that really kind of are the weakness, if you want to say so, of the vocal cords, because muscles can kind of be trained and you can put strain on muscles, but the membranes are very sensitive. If you wear those out, there could be some damage. So that's why you always want to be careful if you do anything really extreme with your vocal cords. Now there's also a third component. There's the muscle, the membrane, and then there's also a mucosal layer. Of course, our bodies aren't just sterile, and there's a layer of mucus that kind of lays over the membranes that also plays a role in phonation, or in how your pitch can sound. Now, depending on what register you sing in, different parts of the vocal cords can actually vibrate. Now, when you sing in the heavy register, which is pretty much your chest voice, or the voice that you usually speak in, to be a little bit louder and to be a little bit more intense, then usually the whole thing vibrates, which means the muscle as well as the membranes, which also causes kind of a thicker tone. As you have probably noticed, whenever you sing in chest voice, it sounds kind of more meaty. It's like, yeah. Whenever you sing in head voice, no matter how strong it is, it sounds a little bit thinner. Yeah. Even if you do it high. Yeah. It just has this sound as if something much thinner is causing the pitch. So in order for the whole mechanism to be able to vibrate, you need a certain amount of air pressure that flows through there. If there's too little pressure, or if there's just not enough air, then the whole thing can't really vibrate, because it's quite a mass that you kind of have to, you have to get it moving in order for it to vibrate and to reach a certain frequency. So keep that in mind whenever you sing in chest voice, and especially when you sing chest voice a little bit higher. Just keep in mind that it needs a certain airflow in order for it to work. So whenever you sing high and you don't have enough airflow, it will probably most likely just kind of flip over and resonate in head voice, like so. Now, this wasn't really chest voice because the whole muscle can't vibrate. There's just not enough airflow. You need more pressure. So that's something that you should always keep in mind. Now, whenever you sing in head voice, those muscles are also tense, but they get kind of longer because the pitch gets higher. And as they get longer, less of the area can vibrate. It's kind of like it closes more, and then, you know, gradually you have less and less of that whole area vibrating until you have only the membranes vibrating. And even when the membranes only vibrate, the higher the pitch gets, the less area of the membranes actually vibrates. And then also, you know, on the top there's also whistle register, which means not the membrane is vibrating, not the whole membrane, but only very, very small areas. Also, when it gets very high, or you have those kind of sounds like this, what happens is, of course, first of all, smaller areas of the membranes on the vocal cords vibrate until at one point only the mucosal overlay vibrates. And that's why you can sometimes have those really high sounds that aren't really sung, that aren't really a pitch, they're kind of like a squeak. And that's because a very small area only vibrates. Now, as far as the vocal cord closure goes, since we've talked about it that the vocal cords consist also of muscles, you can control how much tension is in those muscles and how much you contract them. That's something maybe you don't know how to do voluntarily, but you know, the more you practice, the more you will notice what it feels like whenever they are contracted and the vocal cords close very tightly, or whenever they are very loose and your vocal cords don't have much closure. And hence there's a lot of airflow, but not a lot of vibration because there's just not enough tension. And that causes that hooty, breathy sound, which you do sometimes want. But just be aware of that, you know, it causes a lot of friction because just a lot of air goes through and it just isn't enough air pressure that it will cause the whole vocal cord to vibrate. It's kind of like a dirty sound, if you want to say that, because you just hear the sound of the air going through, which, you know, it's not a frequency that's actually desired unless you want to do that on purpose, like so. So this time you heard a lot of air. Now I can close my vocal cords a little bit more, but not have full closure. There's still kind of a lot of space so that you hear some breathy, airy sound. Now, the more you close it, the less you hear the air passing through, and the more you hear just a pitch. You can do that whether you're loud or whether you're soft, like so. I can do it loud. Full closure, softly too. Now, the softer you get, the harder it will be to get this full closure because you don't have a lot of air pressure. Now, that's something really important. Now, the better your support is, the more pressure the air column has that comes up, that passes through your vocal cords. And that air pressure is so important for passages when you want to sing softly, but with full vocal cord closure, which means softly, but not breathy. Also, whenever you sing high pitches, you don't want to be too relaxed. You need that very condensed air column passing through, and that way you have enough pressure for those vocal cords to vibrate quickly. Remember, the higher the pitch is, the more stretched the muscle gets. They get tighter and they can vibrate faster. So this is kind of very sciencey, but I think it really helps any singer to have that in the back of your mind, since singing is an instrument that just uses your body, and you can't open up your throat and be like, okay, push this button and then this sound will happen. Like on a piano, you can actually see what's happening. You can even look inside and see the hammers, hammering on the strings. But with a voice, you can't really look inside and see what's happening. So I think, for me at least, it helps me a lot just to be able to imagine what happens in there. And that way it all makes sense. It all kind of makes sense. Like if I know I need more air pressure, then I know that I have to use my ab muscles more. That way the air is kind of catapulted out much more quickly for those frequencies to be able to happen on the top that I need. So I'm sorry, this was really sciencey today. I really hope it helped you. I would really be interested in any experiences that you have, if you actually feel how your vocal cord closure is. If you have a problem with little vocal cord closure, that they're too open and it sounds breathy, or you don't have any problem with it at all, and if you would like me to, I could give you some exercises to practice vocal cord closure specifically. If you do want that, please comment below and I will try to do my best. So, but if I gave you some more exercises, this video will be really long. I just wanted to kind of explain it today. So, hope you have a wonderful day. Check back next Friday when I will upload another singing tip. And of course, if you have not already, subscribe to my channel because I upload a new great singing tip every Friday. Also check out my blog at freyasingingtips.com, which I will link up below. And of course, as always, all that's left to say is you do have a wonderful day, and don't forget, always keep on singing because it's really good for you, and always keep a song in your heart and make someone smile. Bye.